Derrick Rose would unfortunately not be the number one pick in a 2008 NBA redraft. The 2011 MVP, he doesn't fall far, he drops just one spot to number 2. But picks 2 and 3 were Michael Beasley and O.J. Mayo, and they both drop much more precipitously. They fall into this middle tier all the way to 19th and 17th, respectively. But then we had 2 fantastic picks in a row, both from UCLA, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love. Westbrook was the second MVP from this draft class, and he jumps to number 1 ahead of Derrick Rose, while Love, the 5-time All-Star, rises to number 3. Next, we had 2 prolific scorers at picks 6 and 7 with Danilo Gallinari and Eric Gordon, and they both dropped just a couple of spots to 8 and 10 in our redraft. Then we had our first real bust of the draft with Joe Alexander, and he falls all the way to the bottom tier. But then at 9 and 11, we had 2 more decent guards with DJ Augustine and Jared Bayless, and they both fall a little bit into the middle tier to 16 and 22. But at pick 10, we had another great pick with Brook Lopez out of Stanford. He jumps up into the second tier to number 4 behind Kevin Love. Then there were some somewhat forgettable picks at 12, 13, 14, and 16, all of whom fall into this 4th tier, including most notably Maurice Spates. But then picks 15, 17, and 18 were all solid big men in the NBA, Robin Lopez, Roy Hibbert, and JaVale McGee. Hibbert, who rises to 12th in our redraft, was a 2-time All-Star and the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year in 2013-14. Then we had 2 backup big men, J.J. Hickson and Alexis Ajinça, who both fall into the 4th tier, and then 2 more solid rotation players with Ryan Anderson and Courtney Lee. Anderson jumps to 13th, just behind Roy Hibbert. Then Costa Koufos slides over into the 4th tier before we reach the biggest steal of the first round, Serge Ibaka with the 24th pick. He made 3 all-defensive teams and led the league in blocks twice, so he rises all the way to the 2nd tier to pick 7. Then following Ibaka, we had 2 more excellent picks in a row at 25 and 26 with Nick Batum and George Hill. They rise all the way up to 9th and 11th, respectively. And then after a few more forgettable picks, the first round was complete, and we're not going to go through the entire second round, but there were quite a few noteworthy players to bring in. Starting off immediately with pick 31, we had Nikola Pekovic, and he had a couple of really impressive seasons in Minnesota, so he jumps 10 spots to number 21. Then Mario Chalmers rises into the 4th tier before we reach another huge steal, DeAndre Jordan at pick 35. The 3-time All-NBA center jumps all the way up into the 2nd tier to number 5. Then Omer Asik comes next, and he rises into the 3rd tier to number 18. And then Luc Richard Mbah a Moute rises into the 4th tier before we finally reach the last pick in our redraft. With the 45th pick, it's Goran Dragic. And like DeAndre Jordan,